good, ladies and gentlemen? As always, I am joined by Rurikhan, and welcome back to each and every one of you to Mythic Banter, your weekly show where we go through the news, but with a twist. Myself and Rurikhan rarely agree on a multitude of topics, and we go back and forth, seeing if we can find middle ground.
And then I punch him in the face, because that's what you do when you're a reasonable individual.
Wow. Yeah. Really does abuse me. Just speaks to, what you guys see on YouTube, the fun-loving, joking Rurikhan. No. That's not really him. Like, behind the scenes, he is a vicious monster.
Yes.
How you doing, bro?
I am exceedingly tired. More than usual.
Oh, no.
My brain is barely functioning this last week or so from way too much live streaming. Yeah. And because basically we've been doing Savage Omega and Months and Wilds, which is kind of like mythic rating. And yeah, that's been rough. It's it takes a lot out of you. That's been what I've been doing.
No, I can imagine. No, I woke up this morning quite late, actually. I usually wake up at about 20 to 5 in the mornings. Today I literally slept till past 8. Like, I was so
I am jealous.
Tired.
That's more than me.
Damn, man.
That is more than me, actually. So
then, to be fair, I did go to sleep only at 1. So, like, I wasn't
working?
like in bed by 10.
Were you working?
Yeah.
Or was it pleasure? Okay.
Well, I had Bible study last night, as I always do on a Wednesday, and that went on till about just after 9. And then I got home, and then I got involved in watching podcasts and stuff.
That's always a terrible idea.
Dude, there's a new podcast. You have to watch it. It is so interesting. It's from Tucker Carlson. Now, I don't like a lot of Tucker Carlson stuff because I think he's gone a bit off the deep end on some extent.
Political stuff? That sounds so interesting.
No. This isn't actually political. This is more, he's speaking to a guy that's been researching the occult inside Hollywood, specifically how and Silicon Valley, how these people are all on ketamine, doing all manner of drugs. And the interesting thing with people on ketamine is across the world, they find people who use ketamine and see the exact same stuff, like exactly the same stuff. And that sort of must make you think, wait, what are they seeing? And people who use ketamine, at least the people in Silicon Valley that's creating the AI, they're convinced that they're communing with the other side. And it's the other side telling them how to create the AI.
What is the other side in this conversation? Is it the world of the dead, a different dimension? Like, what are we talking about?
No. It's okay. So in order to understand this, you have to, I can't remember the guy's name, but he actually speaks about it. This guy is one of the leading philosophers behind AI. He's like sort of almost like a father of AI in that sense. He's very involved in Silicon Valley thinking. And he was asked once in an interview, what do you say about Christians who claim that you are building the beast, that you're building demons?
Oh.
And his reply was this: I'm very sympathetic to their view because we are building the dragon in Revelation. Now, if you don't know Revelations, the book of Revelation speaks of a dragon. This dragon is what destroys the world. The dragon is Lucifer. Now, in order to understand this, you have to understand that none of his ideas are new. If you go back to the 2nd century after Christ, you find the Gnostics. The Gnostics had a very different read, at least some Gnostic cults had a very different read of the Bible. So they read Genesis, and they actually see Lucifer as the savior. They think Lucifer and Jesus are brothers, because Lucifer saves man from the prison of God in the Garden of Eden by offering man knowledge. And so these guys, at least the ones who, even Elon Musk said in an interview that they're summoning demons with AI. So they all say the same thing, right? They're building this demonic sort of vehicle. Now, if you don't believe in demons, that's your prerogative. I'm telling you what they believe.
Yeah.
Right? And so he views it, he actually says as much. when they finished building the dragon and the demons of Revelations, the dragon and the demons will destroy humanity, but that's a good thing.
That's a good thing?
It was always supposed to be the dragon destroying humanity, because humans are still in the prison of God, and the dragon is actually going to free us from that prison. So that it's a very interesting interview. Even if you don't believe in any of this, it is a super interesting podcast. I've been watching that, and then I've watched another podcast just earlier, which was even more interesting in some ways, because it's the guy from the Big Short. Did you ever watch that movie?
Yes, I did. Is it the economist cool that did all of the stuff? Basically, the guy that's portrayed by what's his
Steve
name?
Carell.
Oh, by Steve Carell? No, because they're the
You remember
the really important one is portrayed by Christian Bale.
Christopher Bale of Christian Bale. Yeah. No. So Michael Berry, he doesn't do a lot of podcasts because he's autistic and crap, so he doesn't like doing a lot of podcasts and stuff.
Insane.
Yeah, but the guy that was portrayed by Steve Carell, I can't remember his name now, but I watched the podcast with him where he's talking about the whole movie, how things actually worked and what actually happened and what was real and what wasn't real. It was just super interesting to listen to that guy and his warnings for what's going to crash the world economy next.
Oh yeah, because it's 100% going to crash again. Like there's no, there's always going to be happening crazy stuff. Because they need to in order to keep us controlled. That's basically where we're at.
Well, the big problem here is actually, he explains this. So the two things that we have to be wary of most is AI, and not AI as in AI destroying the world, investments in AI. And then the next one is private equity. These are the two things that could next destroy the world economy. And
private equity?
He likens,
You mean like the one with the Saudis purchasing Electronic Arts? That type of private equity?
To some extent, but think more broadly. If you have shares in anything, let's say you went on the stock market and you bought some index fund, that's private equity because that's your private money, right? You're not using someone else's money, you're just using your own money. Currently, stocks are hyper-inflated as a result of everyone having access to the stock market. And that could change overnight. It's fine as long as there's no recession. If a recession were to hit, that money all being pulled out at once by people. Yeah.
And it's happened before.
where the recession may come from is AI. And he likens it to 1998. The dot-com bubble.
Oh, yeah.
Because he actually explains, in 1998, people were so convinced that the internet was going to change the world that everyone was tripling down on investing on the internet. Now, about 4 years later, the internet did change the world and did take over. The problem was that investors started to get antsy because investors were like, wait, where's the returns? We're not seeing all this great returns. And so investors demanded their money back, and that almost crashed the world economy. Now, AI is even worse. You see, OpenAI is valued at $300 billion currently on the stock market. OpenAI has, in 11 rounds of funding, been managed to get $60 billion that they're burning, right? Building new farms and all the rest of it.
I mean, I think the guy Sam Altman has said multiple times that they're not profitable right now.
Yeah, but that's the problem, and he explains it actually. For now, investors are perfectly happy to buy in on the promise that they'll eventually become profitable. But at some point, investors will go, wait, this is taking too long.
Yeah.
Where's my money, bitch? And then the crash happens because now people start pulling their money away from it. And that then leads to recession. Then all of the private equity starts pulling out of the market. That leads to an even deeper depression. And before you know it, so he warned that's probably what's happening next.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been watching. That's been my podcast journey.
I mean, those are very interesting topics for sure, but it's still not worth sacrificing your sleep, I would say, because like I've sacrificed so much sleep, and I would not recommend sacrificing sleep over literally anything at this point. You just feel so bad afterwards. No. But I also wanted to apologize to people because, like, I'm going to be sniffling a lot throughout this podcast because it's
doing coke.
No, yeah, I was just doing like 3 lines before the podcast just to like get it's, allergies, dude. I thought I was done with allergies, but it seems like every time the humidity rises up, it just destroys me every single time. So I'm like just a mess. My nose is like a faucet.
I'm on a permanent sort of antihistamine. You get these, you get these tablets that's non-drowsy because the normal one makes you very sleepy.
Yeah, I know.
But you get the one that you can use every single day. I am on it 365 days a year.
That's very
because
smart.
If I don't, it's insane. So I don't get a lot of allergy attacks, luckily.
I get those,
but okay,
quite often.
Yeah. My brother gets those as well, usually around the turn of seasons.
Yep.
So as soon as the seasons start turning, he gets really, really ill, which is strange, but hey, makes sense. Okay, so let's talk poll. 4 days ago, we asked you guys, has Xbox
Let me go get
reached...
Patrick. Let me go get Patrick. He's going to come in and just like awkwardly stand next to us.
Yep, the Polish guy. Has Xbox reached max villain status? Yes, I realize it's a very boring poll, but it's sometimes difficult to think of polling questions, guys. And it is actually something that I wanted to know because we did the Nintendo one. By the way, early warning, next week's is going to be, has Sony reached max villain status? Because I need to do all of them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have to do all of them so that we can get a sort of sense of where people feel. I will say, though, an interesting thing is Nintendo's was very high, right? A lot of people said yes for Nintendo. This time around, the yes was only 53%. The no was 28%, and the 14% said depends, and then 5% said show results. So it's a little bit more split on Xbox, and I kind of understand where people are coming from.
Xbox has a lot of glazers. That's why everybody glaze in Microsoft.
I wouldn't necessarily even say that. I would say that the reason Xbox is probably a little bit more split around this issue is, first, a lot of the people who said yes probably also meant yes, but it can get worse, right? So they didn't really read it as max villain status, because it can always get worse. But I will say Xbox is a bit of a mixed bag, as with almost all companies, right? They do some things that you go, oh, that's pretty cool. And then they do other things where you go, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you doing it this way? In some ways, Xbox is really greedy. But then in other ways, you can sort of go, well, it's not that bad, right? For some of their games, at least, it's not that bad. So you sort of go, it is greedy, but at the same time, there's other things that isn't that greedy, where I think with Nintendo, it's kind of like Nintendo is just very unashamedly greedy on almost every level. They do make great games, and people love their games, and people love their consoles, and they love their ecosystem, but they're also very greedy.
I think,
and so...
One of the most fun posts that I've seen from Xbox was yesterday, where they've just done like the price hike and all of that stuff, and everybody's kind of mad. And so basically Xbox SEA comes out with this banger Twitter post. We're not done yet in 2025.
Oh, damn.
I was like, this sounds like a threat. Why does this post sound like a threat? You're going to make it worse?
I mean,
like, what's going on?
You see, that's the interesting thing about presuppositions, right? Or supposition, is they probably meant it as, oh, you haven't seen how amazing it's going to get. We're reading that and going, what?
That's a threat.
No more, please, sir.
No, but
please, sir. I'm so sorry, sir.
They say join Xbox at Gamescom Asia Cross Thailand Game Show in Bangkok 16. So basically, they're promoting their showcase at Gamescom Asia. But like that first sentence, we're not done yet in 2025. I'm like, that's a threat.
Damn.
That's a threat if I've ever seen one. It's like, you think it's bad now? Papa's got a belt ready to spank you some more. Don't you worry.
Yeah, but I'm going to make, sort of preemptively, I'm going to make the same argument for Sony, right? Are there a lot of scumbag things that Sony does? Yes. Are there good things that Sony does? Also, yes.
Yeah.
right? And I would say it comes across more equal than in Nintendo's case, where I think if we were to ask this exact question before the Switch 2, most people would probably have landed on, no, Nintendo is a pretty, on balance, a decent company.
Yeah.
They're not great. They do a bunch of crazy shit, but they're not too terrible on a lot of other things. I think the Switch 2 really cemented a sort of view in non-fanboys that Nintendo is just a scumbag company. They do a lot of scumbag stuff. And while, yes, that scumbag stuff is attached to decent and good games, if they can...
It's still scumbag
I watched... yeah. I watched Moist Critical's video on Taylor Swift's new album. And I'm not a Swiftie, right? So I don't have her album, and I didn't even know that she was going to release a new album. But when you hear how she released the album, it sounds like Nintendo gave her some pointers. So listen to this.
No.
Taylor Swift, before the release of her album, releases something like 4 vinyls, specially color-coded vinyls with the album, right? Limited edition.
Of course.
So every single, but it doesn't release at the same time.
Artificial scarcity is something that everybody loves.
Yeah. But here's the thing. One releases its limited availability. As soon as that one goes away, a new one with a different color releases with limited availability. So, yeah. So just 4 or 5 times that happens, right?
It's like, you remember that experiment that the Spiffing Brit did on YouTube, where he was basically edging this not live stream, but a premiere that he was going to do. He just kept edging it because he was going to really mess with the YouTube algorithm. The whole point was like, okay, there's going to be a premiere at this time. And then he would delay it by 15 minutes. And then 15 minutes. And then 15. And he did this for like 3 days. That thing exploded. It's kind of like the same thing. She's just like edging people out. This is the last one. No. For real now. This is the last one. Actually, for real, this is the last one. And just keeps on going. That's brilliant.
So all of these vinyls come out. And then the album releases. But the album also releases in these multiple tiers, right? So you have a sweater with the album and all the rest of it.
You're talking about Nintendo. This sounds like a Ubisoft thing, actually.
Well, Ubisoft, Nintendo, same difference at this point, right? Actually, that's insulting to Nintendo. Sorry. That is insulting. I'm so sorry.
That's Nintendo. One step too far, okay?
Yeah, okay. But here's where it gets so much more scumbag, dude. Before the album's release, Taylor Swift promises that there will be no bonus tracks this time. And the reason she promises that is because almost all of her albums launch and then she releases another version later with like extra bonus tracks and stuff on it. What she does instead is this. She releases 4 or 5 different albums after the main album that contains at least 2 acoustic tracks of tracks that are on the album for $8 per album, right? And she does that 4 times. Yeah, it's 4 times with 2 songs each for about $8 per pop.
Seems reasonable.
Right, to get the acoustic versions. So once people started listening to the album, they were like, this is mediocre as shit. Like, the album isn't even that good. There's not a single song on there that really stands out. So now Charlie from Moist Critical actually made this point. This is the first time in his life that even Swifties aren't defending her.
Damn.
Like, even Swifties are going, man, this is scumbag. Like, what the hell did you just do? So there's some interesting stuff happening there. But okay, so Xbox I don't think is quite on the level of Taylor Swift.
I think they're worse.
But I do think
they're scum. They're absolutely like, listen.
I don't know.
I have very little hobby blade fell. Could have been dangerous. I'm not wearing any shoes. As I was saying, I have very little sympathy for Microsoft simply because they kind of did something that I was thinking that it was going to happen. I never really said. I don't remember if I said it publicly, but basically they did the old crack dealer special, which is the whole thing where it's the first hit's free, the next one's gonna cost you, and then they keep turning the screws up and up and up and up, and it's just like that is just really scummy. That you get people addicted to the service, and they trust you to keep maintaining this service, and then you just like turn the screws on them to a level where basically the service is no longer a good value proposition for people. So I have no fucking sympathy for Microsoft. Fuck them.
My hope is that enough people don't have the $30 a month to pay for the service that Microsoft eventually is just forced to put it on like permanent discount, so
I doubt it.
Technically they don't lower the price, but they do put it on like permanent discount. Which is normally what happens. Just FYI, guys. What you see it on Steam. Rust is famous for doing this. Like Rust, I don't think has ever been at its actual sell price. Like it's always on some discount. Like it's always this is the price, but then we'll put a 50% discount on, so people think, oh man, discount. I have to own this, and really, they just want the discounted price, but they know that if they charge $25 for Rust, people wouldn't pay it. But if they're charging, $50 and then discounting 50, oh boy, what a deal. So maybe that's something Xbox might play into. I personally still think it's absolute scumbag what Xbox did with their with the Game Pass, so I do agree with you there. All right. Time to talk about something that isn't gaming related, but it is content creator related.
Okay.
There's a video for the last, 2 days ago, this video really started to circulate of Hasan and his dog. And we're going to be talking about that.
Jesus.
So, to set the scene for you guys, Hasan has this dog that basically lies in the corner for all of his streams. Pretty much the whole stream, the dog just lies there. Which has always been a little bit awkward and a little bit weird because I have dogs. My dogs do not lie still in one position for even an hour. They will always be moving around, getting up, even if it's just getting up to go lie somewhere else. But Hasan's dog pretty much religiously lies there in the corner. On at least a lot of his streams. Not necessarily all of his streams, but a lot of his streams. But so the dog, in this particular clip, gets up. And you can see that the dog is deciding to leave. The dog no longer wants to be there. Hasan then calls out Kaya something, right? He blasphemes.
What's the name of the god?
You can see
the name of the dog.
The dog.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Kaya something. And the dog immediately turns around and starts stepping back onto the bed. You see Hasan reaching off camera, literally looking at something on his desk, reaching off camera, and suddenly the dog gives a giant, cry.
A yelp. I think they call that a yelp.
Yeah, like a yelp. Yeah. It gives a yelp, jumps a little, and goes to lie down right away. Back in the position where the dog was. People rightfully start going, wait, hold on. What the hell did you just do? Because it looks from the video as if Hasan is reaching off screen to something on his desk, and it looks like he's looking at something, and suddenly the dog yelps, and then Hasan looks back, right, to the dog. Then people start pointing out that Hasan just used the shock collar on his dog. You have people who actually freeze frame the video, like Madam Savvy, for example, freeze framed the video, showed the collar on the angle that the dog was in, and showed you the actual collar on Amazon that also has a green light, and the green light goes on when it gets a signal to shock.
I need one of those for my
when
kids.
You press
That's what I need. I need one of those for my kids.
Oh, boy. Police, I'll give you all the details you need.
Yeah.
Child Protective Services. There we go. Rurikhan just live on air said that he wants to shock his children.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're stepping out of line? Get a little shock therapy. That'll fix you right up.
Yeah. So the problem here is, right? So you have Madam Savvy saying this. Then the next day, Hasan shows the collar on stream, proving that it is in fact a vibration collar and not a shock collar as people suggested. The issue is that this happened the next day, not the same day. And the bombshell happened the day prior. Now, all of Hasan's orbiters, as you can imagine, all of his army of, little henchmen are immediately just believing it. They're like, no, he didn't shock his dog. The dog clearly got its foot caught on the bed.
So,
and then they show this freeze frame video of the foot or the paw of the dog clearly not getting caught on anything, right? Like there's nothing that can be caught on that, on that video. The dog jumps and yelps and then lies down, but apparently somewhere on that bed that has no crevices that can catch the paw got caught.
Yeah. So my whole thing is like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to say that it was a shock collar or it wasn't a shock collar. Mm-hmm. Definitely something happened to the dog. I don't think it got his paw stuck anywhere because I looked at the video and I was like, I don't see it getting stuck anywhere. The person that posted, you can clearly see her getting stuck. I'm like, clearly? Where? I'm not even looking at this on my phone. I'm looking at this on my PC, like zooming in and be like, clearly stuck? Like I've seen my dog get stuck everywhere, okay? Doesn't get stuck like that. Just the other day, she got her tail stuck in some furniture or something, and she yelps and whatever. But it's like it does when the dog is stuck on something, you can clearly tell, and you couldn't tell like, oh the paw got stuck on it. No, that's not how that works. It was not stuck on the bed frame at all. Now again, I don't know if it was a shock collar or not. It definitely looks that way. It 100% looks that way. And if that was the case, that is absolutely disgusting, obviously.
What's more is, as I say to you, Madame Savvy actually freeze-framed the crap out of this. At the moment that Hasan reaches off desk, you see the green light pop up on the collar, and then you hear the yelp. Like, it's connected, right? So the problem that you have here is that it all looks as if the dog was shocked. But let me suggest that it was just a vibration collar. Clearly, those vibrations remind that dog of something else. So this means that the dog at some point must have worn a shock collar where it's no longer necessary because the vibrations alone tell the dog that pain is about to happen. Because that's the whole point of these shock collars. They use pain in order to tell the dog not to do certain things, right? And this would also then mean that the collar is on way too high a setting. Way too high a setting, because technically the shock collar isn't supposed to hurt the dog. It's literally just supposed to give the dog a fright, right? So that the dog doesn't want to go there again. And I know, because I have a friend whose dogs wear shock collars.
Damn.
So that they don't run out of the yard. But I've actually had the shock collar used on me, and it genuinely is just like a, right? Like it doesn't hurt. It's just like almost like your muscle spasms a little bit. And you can see when it happens to the dog because they have these sensors in their yard so that the dogs can't cross the sensors and run out of the yard.
That reminds me of Running Man. You've ever seen Running Man, like really old 80s movie?
I never watched it, but I know of it.
Except they didn't wear shock collars. They were in this prison and they were wearing explosive collars. So there was like a perimeter set up, and basically, if you go outside the perimeter, your head explodes.
Yeah. I mean, there is a legitimate use case for shock collars, but the whole point is that they should be set at such a low setting that it doesn't hurt the dog. It just gives the dog a fright. It's sort of the same thing that they tell you to do with a newspaper. Why you should hit your dog with a rolled up newspaper and not with a stick. Because the rolled up newspaper isn't going to hurt. It's just going to make a loud noise, which frightens the dog, which tells the dog not to do a certain thing. A stick is going to hurt the dog, right? You're abusing the dog. Sure, the dog will learn all the same, but one is abuse, the other is just scaring the dog so that they don't, I don't know, take a crap in your living room, right? or whatever the case might be. So the shock collar is just supposed to be able to do that without hurt. If the dog yelps, it means that the setting is way too high because the dog now got hurt as a result of it. Ultimately, I don't need any convincing to know that Hasan is a very bad guy, right? Like, even without all of this, I have always believed Hasan to be a bad guy. So this doesn't move me or sway me one way or the other.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't like the guy. That's my bias. I have no time or respect for Hasan. What I do not like is that when Alinity threw her cat over her head, she got banned on Twitch. Hasan, at least allegedly, right, shocks his dog.
Zappy. It's fine.
And Twitch does nothing. I must say, HBC, though, released a crazy meme where it's just Hasan sitting there, and it's literally Alinity throws her cat, gets banned. Meanwhile, Hasan sits there in front of his PC and his dog is just electrocuted to shit on the back.
That's fucked up.
But it is sad, that Hasan, nothing happens to Hasan. And I would say to all of the people who just believe it, right, Hasan's version of events, guys, this will happen the next day. Hasan has enough money to go out and very quickly buy a vibrating collar.
Yeah.
Right? You have no actual evidence.
Here's my question. Why the fuck do you need a vibrating collar on a dog?
No, if the dog is already well trained, it would be completely unnecessary.
What is the purpose of a vibrating collar on? I can't think of a single use case why my dog would need a vibrating collar. It's like, it's soothing. He feels nice when he gets a... Like, what are you talking about? Like, set your phone to vibrate. No. Put it up against your neck. See how good that feels. It's just strange. It's weird. Why would you have that?
As I already explained, the vibrating collar is meant to replace the shock collar. Because now that the dog is used to the fact that it's getting shocked, you put the vibrating collar in there because it mimics it.
I'm just saying, like, let's say that's not the reason why. Okay, let's say that you're a bad faith actor, which a lot of the Hasan orbiters are going to say you're a bad faith actor, you're biased. Yeah. Then, like, my question is, why do you need a vibrating collar for a dog? Actually, tell you what, let's do a thought experiment. Let's go to ChatGPT and ask it. Let's ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, why not?
Why would you need a vibrating collar for a dog? And see what it says.
Yeah.
Vibrating collars can serve different purposes. Not all of them are bad or shock collar related, which sometimes people confuse them with. Training and communication, human signaling. The vibration can act as a tap on the shoulder to get a dog's attention without pain. Now, I would say, if that didn't seem like that was the case,
that was definitely not without pain.
Trainers might use it as a recall cue. Come back to redirect. So basically, it can be used so that Hasan's like, get your ass back in frame, motherfucker. Get your ass back in frame. Don't fucking leave.
I'm using you to make myself seem more human. How dare you move, you bastard.
It's especially helpful in positive reinforcement training when sound cues like verbal commands or whistles aren't effective, which he is like, not yelling, but like, reprimanding the dog when the dog's standing up. He's like, Kaya, what the hell are you doing? Right? He's going through that. Other thing. Deaf or hearing impaired dogs. This is one of the best uses. Vibration replace auditory commands. For example, vibrating once might mean look at me so the dog can see a hand signal. This allows the dogs to live fuller, safer lives. Working or service dogs. Some service dogs, especially those trained for specific environments, may use vibrations as subtle signals from their handlers. For example, to direct their attention discreetly. So, however, there are misuses too. Some people buy vibrating collars thinking they're gentler shock collars for punishment, which can cause fear or confusion if used to scold rather than to guide. And one might argue Hasan was definitely scolding the dog as he reached off camera, regardless if it was a shock collar or a vibrating collar. Used incorrectly, they can stress the dog or make training harder if the timing or purpose isn't cleared. When used properly, especially under guidance from positive reinforcement trainer, a vibrating collar is not about punishment, but about communication. A tool to get attention, not to cause fear or pain. I would argue whatever the fuck happened definitely caused some pain. So,
Yeah.
So basically,
No, I mean,
none of these things makes that much sense, because are you getting the dog's attention by vibrating collar? Why do you need the dog's attention? Can the dog not walk out of frame? Does the dog have to be there every day, sitting down while you stream? Is this like an important thing? Like, I don't know, man. It's weird.
It is important because psychologically speaking, there's a reason, for example, why a lot of dictators and evil people love to showcase their dogs. And this is proven. It does make you seem more relatable and human to other humans, right? Because if a pet likes you, you can't be too bad, right? So and that is true, right? They've done the research on it. People with animals seem more open and friendly than people without. So Hasan just uses that while he spews off his fascist nonsense. I would argue nothing you or I say will change the ideologically captured viewers of Hasan one way or the other.
Absolutely not.
I saw it this week. With the Greta Thunberg stuff, right? So Greta Thunberg, after being told by Israel that she's not allowed to go into Palestine, being arrested by Israel for going into Palestine, being sent back, goes back, Israel arrests her again, and here's the funny thing. All of the Greta Thunberg disciples, right, start making all of these claims about how she's being abused, she's being tortured, they forced her to kiss the Israeli flag, pulled her by her hair, they're not feeding her, they're withholding medication even though they were in jail for 2 days. Like what medication are you being withheld of? Like, what are you talking about, right? But all of these claims, all of the hostages that came out look incredibly healthy. Not a single one of them looked tortured. Greta Thunberg, just after being released, gives a statement, doesn't mention anything about being tortured or not being fed or anything. Her story conveniently starts to change a few days later, when she's now had the update from all of her backers about what she should actually be saying Israel is doing to her, right? Or did to all of the hostages.
You want to know?
It's insane.
An interesting thing.
It's absolutely insane.
An interesting thing that happened.
Go ahead. I just want to finish my story here. The people who hate Greta Thunberg will reject everything and anything she says outright without evidence, proof, or whatever. The people who love Greta Thunberg will reject any evidence to the contrary that might prove that she's just full of crap. That's the problem with ideologically captured human beings. You can no longer see rationality. You just see your own hatred, and you filter every piece of information through your own bias. So that's the world we live in now. We can't change the sun. You wanted to say?
I was going to say that apparently there was a Portuguese politician that decided to go on the flotilla.
Yeah.
They decided to go on the flotilla, and they were also captured by the Israelis. And apparently there's some people in Portugal are kind of like putting down one of those signature things. Like, it's not really a petition. It's not really a petition, but it's kind of one of those. And the petition is about, like, keep her. Don't send her back.
Dude, but it kind of reminds me of this one Swedish guy that did the same thing, where it shows Greta's automatic video saying that she's been captured by the Israelis, and then this Swedish guy just pops up and he goes, speaking on behalf of Sweden, you may keep her. We've had enough of her. Thank you.
These are all memes,
dude, I
guys.
cannot
Obviously,
stand that woman.
We want everybody to return safely and whatever, and be free and etc. But maybe stay out of active war zones. I don't know. Maybe that's a good idea.
Actually, I don't want them to be returned. Okay. I want them to go into Gaza. They want to be in Gaza. Let them be in Gaza. but let them stay there. They're not allowed to leave until the end of this war because that's where they want to be. Right? Let them fight on behalf of Hamas. Hamas would gladly use them as human shields.
I'm actually curious. Did they want to go to Gaza? That was the purpose? Because I don't follow any of this political shit. So they wanted to go into Gaza.
Yeah, I'm guessing
Israel doesn't want them being used as hostages against them. I would imagine that's probably the reasoning.
I mean, so technically speaking, this would have been similar to you or I in the 2004-2005. Deciding that we're going to take a little boat to Afghanistan.
Oh, fuck.
And
no.
America would just go.
No boat
America
to
would just go. Yeah. But America just goes, oh, yeah, sure. You can go in. You know, they could shoot you. They could kill you. We could kill you accidentally. Or they could actually use you as a hostage in order to get a lot of stuff from us. But by all means, go into this active war zone. Why don't you? Right? No one ever allows that. But somehow Israel stopping this flotilla that, by the way, people love to make. Everyone claims this flotilla was bringing desperately needed aid into Gaza. Dude, they were bringing a couple of bags of crap. Like, they themselves admit that they don't have a lot of aid. They're not coming with, like, enough food to save the whole of Gaza. It's more for semantic purposes, right? Like, to show that, oh, look, I'm Greta Thunberg and I care. That kind of nonsense.
Now you're donation shaming. It's like, listen, they got food that they're going to give people.
Dude,
food is food.
Yeah. There's like 100,000 people and they have one can of beans. Sure.
I mean,
you just brought
it's not
it's one can of beans.
Come
right?
on. It's probably a couple hundred cans of beans, I would imagine, at least. Hopefully.
From what I understand, at least from what the Israelis seized, it's almost nothing. Like this flotilla with all the money that's behind it, because Greta Thunberg she's not poor, right? Her family is incredibly rich, and her organizations make millions of dollars a year. She could have managed a proper boat filled with aid to the brim. That's not what she did. She brought a couple of parcels before she left. She stopped at the garage, right, at the petrol station and picked up a couple of things for the people in Gaza. So it's not an aid mission. That's bullshit. It's just an optics mission. That's all this was. And good on Israel for stopping it, because you shouldn't be there. This is an active war zone. And man, getting so...
We're getting so incredibly political. I don't even remember.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Like,
I'm not qualified to go too deep into these topics because I don't look into them, and I would want to be very well informed to look into them. So my opinions are very superficial.
I don't care about the war in Israel or Palestine, insofar as I don't have a permanent side. Right? I'm not on the side of Israel. I'm not on the side of Hamas. I look at that war and I go, I don't know what exactly to believe. Because if I listen to the left, they'll tell me Israel is everything that's wrong in this world. But then if I listen to the right, they'll tell me Palestine is everything that's wrong with the world and Israel can do no wrong. And I'm sort of going, well, actually, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I agree.
I know Hamas is evil. That I know for a fact.
100%.
And I also know that after October 7th, when Hamas killed over 1,000 Israelis and raped a bunch of them, the people of Palestine cheered.
Yeah,
there were a lot of videos.
That's always been the strange thing to me, is like how they do this big terrorist attack and everybody's just like, oh, well, actually, what was it that Hasan said? It was like, resistance.
It's an open air prison.
No,
it's a resistance because they're in.
Resistance isn't gonna be pretty, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So it's just like 1,000 people get fucking killed, and a lot of them raped, and and that's it's just resistance, not pretty. Like, I guess that's fine now. I guess we just take that on. I could
use Hasan's logic.
The other cheek.
Okay, if that is the logic that the left is using, here's the logic back. That resistance isn't pretty. You're right. And crushing resistance is also not pretty.
Yep.
So Israel is well and truly justified in crushing the resistance. And if that means breaking the spirit of the Palestinian people to the point where they just surrender, then that's what you have to do, because that's how you get rid of the resistances. So, hey,
up.
If we can agree on that, then we're already halfway there.
You want to know
It's
where my heart is at when it comes to this stuff? My heart is on the person that wants nothing to do with this. That's where my heart is.
Yeah.
They're in fucking Gaza getting fucking bombed to smithereens, and they want nothing to do with this. They're like, bro, I'm just a fucking cab driver. I just want to drive people from point A to point B, make a living, feed my family.
Yeah.
That's where my heart is, you know? And on both sides, by the way, because obviously it's not the same people that were at the festival. Oh, man, we're just like chilling out after like a week of work, just like chilling. Then these people came in here, murdered, raped us. It's like, what the fuck? Like, that's where my heart is. For the average person, not the activist and not the big government official that just wants to flatten the place. It's just fucking whatever, dude.
Here's the funniest part of that. Well, I say funny, I mean
there's
really
nothing
messed
funny
up
about this shit, but yeah.
Yeah. No, but the messed up part of it. The area that Hamas invaded and raped and tortured and killed is the least religious area of Israel. In fact, the majority of people who live there are people who want the state of Israel to collapse, who support Palestinian independence, who doesn't like the Jewish faith. They don't like Netanyahu. They don't like any of this. And that's the people that Hamas went to go kill.
What a genius
and that's why,
move.
Yeah, and that's why the majority of Israel is now going, yeah, screw this evil. We can't live like this. Not anymore. Not after October 7th. And hey, you know, whoever wins. That's all I can say. I don't have the power to change anything. I don't have the power to stop that. And I'm sorry, but unlike a lot of lefties who think that their tweets are somehow going to move the needle, I know for a fact that Benjamin Netanyahu isn't going to watch this podcast and me go, hey, you should stop that war. And he's going to go, oh, you know what?
Benjamin Netanyahu
he really just spoke to me.
Gone online to Twitter and being like, oh, man, people are really mad, huh? This is a serious problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's not going to change anything. If you really care,
goes to Twitch, watches the latest Hasan broadcast, like, oh, man, I feel real bad about myself.
Yeah, I'll change, guys. I promise. Hasan changed my mind now. If Hasan really cares about this, let him go to the front lines. Like, let him get his own flotilla, get some guns, and go fight for Hamas. That's how you change the war.
Go hang out.
Don't want to do that.
Go hang out with his Houthi friend or whatever. Go do one of those
boarding operations. Him and his Houthi friend could actually, why not? Right? But anyway, so going back to Twitch meta, moving away from political meta, although I'm sure I'll find another political thing to rant about.
Stop bringing political things, man. What the fuck? That was like 40 minutes of political agenda I wasn't ready for.
Well, we've pretty much already lost half our audience in this rant because at least half of our audience is on the side of Palestine. So, you know, is what it is. But, okay, so let's talk about this. So, Rurikhan, you know how Twitch goes through, well, Twitch and YouTube, social media really, goes through metas, you know? Like, you'll get the React meta. That was really popular for a while. And then you had the jacuzzi meta. That was popular for a while. You know, and you had the girls who were working out meta. That's still popular, I think. I don't know, but I think it's still popular.
Of course.
Well, a new meta just dropped, and you need to hold on to your penis here because this is a big one.
Here we go.
So live birthing is now an actual Twitch meta. Fandy, the World of Warcraft streamer and also titty streamer, because I think she has an OnlyFans. I might be mistaken on that, so don't. But I think she had or has an OnlyFans. But Fandy decided to live stream her entire birthing process,
so
for the world to see.
So, as someone who has witnessed 2 births of my 2 children, that is something that I would most definitely not want to share with the world. But everyone is, you know. Everyone is an adult in this situation, at least I would hope, and they're able to make their own decisions. I just think it's kind of weird to share such an intimate moment with the entire world, but, you know, do what you got to do. And obviously the Twitch CEO approved because he went in there and he's like, good luck on your journey. He's basically like egging her on. Hell yeah, let's fucking go. A live birthing on Twitch, first time. And it's just like, I don't know, man. It feels like it's a very personal experience that you go through.
Yeah.
And Not to mention that it is incredibly, it's already stressful to run a live stream. Just like running a live stream in general is kind of like stressful because you have to like think about, oh, what is chat saying? What is, is everything going good with OBS? Is my ISP running? Is everything fine? What are the issues that are going on? Is this entertaining? You're constantly thinking about the stream whenever you are live streaming. And adding all of that stress on top of the stress that your body is already going through during pregnancy, I think that might have not been the best decision. But like I said, she's an adult. She's free to do whatever she wants. None of my business.
I think
it's not my kid.
I think my only issue with it is the same, right? I don't have a problem per se with the fact that it, like any of the actions that happened there. My problem is more with the mindset. That you could take something that is supposed to be one of the best days of your life, yours
not for
and
the
your
woman,
husband.
I promise you that. I guarantee you it's not the best day of their life, bro. I've seen it twice. It is fucking miserable. Like, my wife is attached to a bed, just like tapping on the button, like, hit me harder with them fucking drugs, bro. This shit hurts like a motherfucker.
Well, there's you saying that, and then I have a bunch of women who actually do say that it is the best day of their life because that's the day that they brought life into the world.
Let me tell you something. It depends very much on how the process goes. My wife went through a very painful, I think it was 23 hours or something like that. That was our firstborn was a 23-hour process from the water breaking to the little one being outside. Okay. That was absolutely miserable. And let me tell you something. Okay. It is hospitals. Y'all need more comfortable chairs for the parents, okay? Because, like, they gave me a fucking stool and called it a day. And I was like, motherfucker, I'm here for 23 hours. I got a fucking stool? I was sitting in the ground, bro. It was more comfortable than the fucking stool. Although that's selfish of me to actually think of my own comfort in the middle of that situation. I'm sure my wife was suffering.
You're human, right?
Yeah, but it's like, it was still like, bro, come on, man. A fucking stool for 23 hours is a bit much.
Yeah, the thing is, I know a lot of women who have gone through multiple pregnancies. In fact, at my church, the average woman has 3 to 4 children, right? And all of them say the same thing. It was the greatest day of their life. Not because there isn't pain. Of course there's pain.
Oh, yeah.
But that is also the day that you bring life into this world, right? Where you fulfill the purpose for which you were created. And so I don't see how you want to share that day.
And by the way,
with the world, especially with people who is going to judge, right?
Oh, yeah.
People are gonna make memes of the way you were positioned. They're gonna turn your face into a meme at one point or another. It's just not. I question the mindset that you're so obsessed with content that your own child's life would be potential content for you.
The one thing that I will say is I've always said that it's like, listen, being kicked in the balls hurts more than giving birth. And it's clearly, obviously true because women are always saying like, maybe we'll have another kid. You'll never hear a guy saying, you know what? I think I'll take another kick.
Maybe I'll get kicked in the balls again.
It's like, no, I'd rather not. Obviously, that's a meme. That's a meme. Everybody chill. But
I actually have a doctor friend who told me the reason births have become so incredibly painful because they've always been painful. Obviously, you're pushing a human being out of yourself, but it is our lifestyle.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've become a lot more sedentary means that a lot of the muscles involved in actually birthing children are completely underdeveloped. So when you go into labor, you're doing it with less than half of the muscles that you need in order to get this baby out of you.
But then again, we're two dudes talking about labor. We're like, whatever.
Well, we're at least going to be. Well, I'm at least at some point, maybe if God wills it, going to be involved in the steps that lead to that day, I might not be going through it myself, and thank you, I'm not.
Definitely not going to be going through it yourself.
if I were to go through it myself, the human race would have died out. Like, I would definitely not want to go through that.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, I don't want to get kicked in the nuts. Like, that does not seem like a good experience to me. But then you also have the evidence, actually, that shows that right after the birth, the brain releases an insane amount of hormones that actually makes the woman not remember the pain as the pain was.
Nah, bro.
Right?
My wife,
So she remembers she was in pain.
My wife reminds me all the time, bro. Forget about it. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, but the thing is, the hormones do mute it. That's why women go through multiple pregnancies, because they remember the pain, but they don't remember it quite as bad as it was.
So it fucks
right?
with their brain.
Whereas
is what you're saying.
Yeah. I remember the pain of the last time I was kicked in the nuts, and I remember it probably worse than what it was.
Yep.
Like, I am very aware of what happened that day, and I also remember, like, this is the thing, right? Right after a woman gives birth, it's like she immediately relaxes, and her body sort of, now she's given birth, now she can relax, hold the baby and all the rest of it. Right after you get kicked in the balls, the rest of your day is ruined.
Yep.
Like, there's no coming back from that.
Yep.
There's no walking it off.
You know,
like, the rest of your day is done.
You know, the last time it was my kid in a tantrum, he punched me in the balls, and the reaction, like, I was trying to, like, do this, go back to kind of avoid it. And I did it so fast that my whole body, the muscles in my whole body tensed up. And I had pain in my arms for a week. For a week. From getting punched in the dick, I had pain in my arms for a week, bro. That's crazy.
Dude, if I tried to do that with my dad would have beaten the living crap out of me.
Yeah, dude. These kids nowadays, like, God damn it. I don't beat my son. Not at all. I discipline him in other ways. It's like, well, no more Switch for you this week, motherfucker. You punched me in the balls. Fuck you.
You see, I view, and I know this is going to be controversial, but I actually view that as more torture than just spanking your kid.
Yeah, I know.
Spanking your kid, in my opinion, is the most humane way of raising a child. Because the child does something wrong.
I'm not.
The child feels pain.
Yeah.
And then, I'm not talking about you here, because the world is telling us that you're not allowed to spank your child because it's torture for the child, right? But I look at modern day kids and I go, well, something is wrong. Because modern day kids seem to have no respect. They seem to be worse off. They're more unhappy than they've ever been before. Like, everything's just wrong with the kids today. And, a part of all the other mistakes that was made is we said you're not allowed to spank your children. I was spanked as a child. I came out just fine, right? And I remember every single time I was spanked. But the problem is sort of they throw the baby out with the bath water.
My thing is
the rule. Yeah.
The punishment of the way that you punish a child is going to be inevitably linked to the child itself. So you have to do something that is effective. And I also don't believe that for my child's personality, that corporal punishment will actually do anything.
I personally think corporal punishment is a good way of raising your children, used sparingly, right? You're not supposed
you can't just
to use
like
it for
beat
every
your kid
little
every
thing.
day. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, but
That's
when
the
your
other
kid
thing.
is acting,
he fucks up so much that I would be basically beating him up every day if that was something that I was doing.
well, you would think so, but if you spanked him, those screw-ups would stop very quickly, because we learn the life is gonna. So you have two options. At least this is the Christian view on it, right? You have two options. Either you discipline your child with love, because you do love him, that's why you're disciplining him, or the world disciplines your child with justice, not love. The world doesn't give a crap about love, right? And when the world disciplines you, that oftentimes comes at a great cost, right? And they don't have mercy, they don't have grace. They just want to exact revenge on whatever you did. So that's sort of the choice you have. The Christian view is you discipline your child so that the world will not discipline him on your behalf. But every person's going to be different. I'm not saying that you should raise your children in that way. I just know that bringing it back to the Twitch meta, I don't think the world should be watching you give birth.
I watched back when I started doing YouTube, the guy who was a bit of a scam artist that was running TGN at the time. He basically made a video of his wife's C-section and uploaded it to YouTube and then shared it with everybody in the TGN team. And we were like, what the fuck is this? It's so fucked up. Dude, you have no idea. Like, especially because a C-section is kind of like, in a lot of ways, I almost feel like it should be a traumatic experience, at least what happened to that. Because I saw the video. It's just, they just so, like, nonchalantly just, like, cut her open.
They don't give a crap, man.
Put her hands in it, and you just see her body just going, like a fucking rag doll as they're yanking the baby out. And I was like, bro, that is fucked. I did not want it to see that. Jesus Christ. So yeah,
my problem is that there's kids on Twitch, right? There's young people on Twitch who probably isn't ready to see that.
They're not mature. They're not mature to learn about
and
that.
this is sadly the argument that while kids shouldn't be on Twitch doesn't help here, because we know that kids are on Twitch.
Yeah, they are.
And then it falls
it's a video
on
game streaming
Twitch
platform.
Yeah, it falls on Twitch to enforce their laws in such a way, or the rules in such a way, that kids don't have to see that crap. And more specifically, that I don't have to see that crap. I didn't watch it, so I'm okay on that front. I don't know why you would do this. Speaking
By
of
the way,
which,
I
let's
don't
get
care.
into actual games.
I don't think it should be there, but I don't care either way. If they want to do it, that's up to them. They're grown ass people. I don't give a fuck.
I'm not as interested in policing it, because I do think Twitch should have rules against stuff like that. But my interest is more in the mindset that leads to it.
Yeah.
Right?
Broadcasting every single aspect of your life.
Yeah. Like, why is it that these things happen in the way that they do? Because that's the thing that needs to be fixed. Yeah, that's the thing that needs to be fixed.
It's one of your mortal sins. Greed.
Yep. I am going to just quickly say this more as no, I don't even want to have a discussion or a debate about this. I'm just going to say this to parents who might be watching. Parents, if I may urge you, please double check the content that your children watch.
Fucking-lutely, dude. Yep.
Yeah. Not just on YouTube.
Yep.
But on Netflix, on Prime, on Hulu, wherever your kids are watching shows, do not trust that these companies actually have your back and are trying to protect your children. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, if you're a parent that thinks that your kid should see gay people on TV shows and should see trans people in TV shows and trans ideology should be pushed down their throat, this is not for you, because clearly you yourself exercise very little discernment in what you watch or what your kids watch. I'm talking to parents who think that, look, if my child is gay, I will be the one that have that conversation with him, because I need to be able to control what that conversation is going to contain. If my child is trans, I will have that conversation with them. I'm not going to trust some corporation to tell my child what is or is not good for them. In that case, you should probably cancel your Netflix subscription. There are now multiple shows on Netflix Kids. Transformer show was on there. There's a couple of others that I don't know the name of because I've never seen the shows myself. But where trans ideology is openly pushed.
Wait, Transformers?
Yeah. I mean, the irony is not lost on me. Yes, the irony isn't lost. But effectively, in this Transformer scene, you effectively have, I think it's Optimus Prime, that's talking to a little girl, and the little girl is telling Optimus Prime that he just misgendered someone because this someone goes by they, them. And now it's perfectly okay for people on Earth to be they, them. And Optimus Prime then comes to the noble realization that they, them is in fact a legitimate pronoun for a single person. Which
so let me just make it clear for everybody. There is no they, them in Portuguese that would make sense for this situation.
Yeah.
Because
actually, most gendered languages would struggle seriously.
I think they, them is just gendered as male. It would just be ilsh. Or wellish.
Yeah.
Which would be they male version or they female version.
Yeah, so, gendered languages would definitely make it a lot harder. I would say, as an Afrikaans and an English speaker,
I will do my best. I will do my best to accommodate people that, like, they want to be treated that way, but like it's very hard because like Netflix is translated here, so we get like localized Netflix, and I don't think that if you try translating that, it's not going to make any sense for the brain of the child. It's just strange.
So I will not play into your delusions. I will treat you with respect, but if you want me to call you they, them, you're going to have to go kick rocks. That will just not happen. I don't think I'm helping you or serving you.
Would you entertain calling
playing into it?
A biological male by she if they asked you for it?
Probably not.
Damn.
I would use his name, right? So if he told me his name is Kate, because that's the only name I have for him. But no, I would most certainly not say that he's a woman, because he's not a woman. And I don't think that I'm helping him by playing into his delusion.
I didn't say that you need to say that he is a woman. I said, would you treat them by their preferred pronouns? This is just a question. It's not a trick question. It's just out of curiosity.
No. Even if it was a trick question, it's an easy answer. I wouldn't. No.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it's not. I don't think that's helpful, and I would much rather help you find a way to get your mind to understand what your body is, rather than trying to mutilate your body to fit whatever warped idea you have in your mind of what you should or should not look like. Because the evidence bears it out. Even the suicide rate amongst trans people before transition is 50%. The suicide rate amongst trans people after transition is 50%. So clearly, for about 50% of people, that transition isn't helping. And it's actually far worse than that when you realize that people who were severely suicidal prior to going through transition are the ones ending up committing suicide after transition. Because the problem isn't, in fact, that you are a different gender. The problem is in your head. You have a mental illness that you need help for. And I would rather help you than play into the delusion that isn't going to help you, because no matter how far you go, you will always realize that you are, in fact, not a woman. And no amount of pretending, and no amount of people telling you that you are, will actually convince you. It would be like me suddenly going and demanding that everyone say that I'm built like a Greek god, right? People should tell me I'm not fat. Will there ever be a time where I will wake up and believe that I'm not fat? Of course not, right? Because I can look in the mirror and I will immediately see I am fat.
You can change. You can work out. And there can be a time where you look in the mirror and you're not fat.
I can lose the weight, but the problem is, right? The problem is, all you're asking here is pretense. Because as the trans person, you will know always that you are not a woman. No matter how hard you try to pretend, you will know that you're not one. And asking everyone else to play into this delusion, in my opinion, is only making matters worse. It's not actually making matters better.
So these are topics that it's very easy to take like a stance of like, well, no, I support everyone that wants to do it, and and just like be super inclusive and all that. And these are also topics that I don't find myself particularly qualified to talk too much about because I don't research it. But I will say that it is hard to just look at it from, oh yes, I will support you 100%, and then you go and if you go online, you see like some of the stories of people that have regrets over the transition.
Yeah.
And because these transitions are often permanent things, I don't think that this should be something that, especially if you want to be empathetic towards the people that are going through issues like body dysmorphia and all of these things that I hear about, which again, I'm not too qualified to speak on, but I definitely, if I put my mind to it, I don't think it's just as easy as support what anybody says, because again, if you look into the cases where people have regretted transitioning, it is fucking devastating. So it is something that needs to be handled tactfully. So it's like, this is why if somebody wants me to use she, her pronouns, I'm like, fine, sure. But don't ask me to like, oh, can you advise me on what I should do? And it's like, no, like you need to go see like a therapist to really figure shit out. If you really want to do that stuff, you need to make sure that your mind is on a perfect, your sound of body and mind when you are making these decisions. That would be the thing that I would urge people the most, because one thing's for certain, in a lot of these situations, when you resort to surgery and stuff like that, there is no going back.
No reverse. Yeah. But this is exactly it, right? It goes back to our conversation about gay people last week. Do I support that you're transitioning? Absolutely not. I would want you not to do that. Will I prohibit you from transitioning? Absolutely not. You're free to do whatever you want, right? It's your body. You should be allowed to do with it as you please. So I will not make any laws or stand for any laws that makes it illegal for you to transition, provided you're 18 years of age. If you're 18, do as you will. I wish that you wouldn't, but I will not stop you. You are an adult. You can make adult decisions. However, if you go after children, like Netflix is doing here, that is a clear no.
Going after children is very, very, like, I don't think that children should be doing any of this stuff before 18, at least.
No.
Because, like,
leave kids alone. Like,
children are at an age where it's like, oh, fuck yeah, I want to be a train. You're not going to be a train. It's not happening.
No. I wanted to be Superman. My parents didn't let me jump off buildings because they understood that me wanting to be Superman is a massive difference between being Superman. So it's just, I don't, like, keep your hands off the kids. That's all I ask. You can do to your body whatever you want. Just leave the children alone. Parents just know that. Please. All right, so now we can move on to, like, actual gaming stuff. Good, you've played Ghost of Yotei.
Now you're gonna torture me with Ghost of Yotei, because I know what's coming up with Ghost of Yotei. This is just let me poke and prod Rurikhan to see what happens. Let me just keep poking at him. God damn. Yeah, I played.
I will actually be quiet on this one. Let me put it this way.
No, you have to. You have to bring up your thoughts on it.
Yeah. Okay. But tell us quickly. You've played about 5 hours of it, you say.
Yeah, I stream about 5 hours of it. I have a huge complaint with Ghost of Yotei, and for a lot of people, this is going to be absolutely pointless, and I get it, but it affects my personal gameplay experience, and it always bothers me.
Yeah.
And that is the difficulty settings. Like, I would just like us to go back to a time where rather than having fucking 5 different difficulties for when you're starting a game. Like, if we need to have multiple difficulties, which usually I just have way more fun in games that don't have difficulty settings, because the developers really hone in on the one difficulty setting that they want you to play, and that usually provides adequate challenge.
They make it perfect.
But in the case of Ghost of Yotei, you have casual, easy, normal, hard, and lethal.
All right, 5. Okay,
so there's 5 of them, and it's like, fine, if that's what you want to do. I kind of feel like casual and easy, like,
should be one, but never mind.
I'm super curious as to what the hell is casual. Are you invincible? Like, is it God mode? Like, what are we doing?
No. Casual is most likely, because if you don't remember, Assassin's Creed had this setting as well, where you can either fully disengage from combat, or you can just not die. Right?
Yeah,
so there's no way for you to die. So casual.
But basically, those are the 5 difficulties, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But then they also have custom. And that's where it really, because like for starters, I usually don't like granular difficulty options to that level. Like the last game that did that, by the way, because a lot of people are always like, this doesn't affect you, just play it. And it's like, it does affect me, because usually what happens in 90% of these games is like, if I go to the difficulty that's not the hardest one, it's going to feel too easy. And then if I go to the hardest one, it's going to feel too bloated and not fun. Now, the thing is, when you go to the granular options of difficulty for Ghost of Yotei, you find stuff like enemy health, enemy damage, your damage, so a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, fine, whatever. But then there's one option in there that I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you. This is bullshit. And that is parry timings.
Oh, right.
Whenever you fuck with parry timings for different difficulties, I just think that is potentially one of the worst things that you can do.
Yeah.
From a difficulty perspective on your video game. Why? Well, I want people to really analyze this, right? Imagine that you're the type of player that's like, oh, I would like to actually get better at this game. So you start on normal, and there's a certain window for your parries, and your brain gets this, and you get the muscle memory for that window. So you see, oh, the enemy's doing this move. I know I can parry it if I hit it now. And boom, you start doing that. And then you go to the harder difficulty. It's like, oh shit, this doesn't work anymore. What the fuck? Now the window is tighter, and the muscle memory that you've built up throughout, 40, 50 hours of playing through the game, if you play through the game once and then you go in through a harder difficulty, like all of that is gone. And that is terrible for teaching people how to become better at video games, which is always something that, most of the videos that I have done when I started doing YouTube is like, oh, people think that Dark Souls is really hard. Let me show you guys why it's not. Here's how things work. And I could teach people things about tells for certain animations and shit like that. And it's just, players get better from watching that stuff. If you fuck with parry timings on different difficulties, it becomes way harder for people to learn how to properly do parries to begin with. You might be like, oh, this is so much better because, people can go on easy and the parry is not as hard. And then if they want to go harder, they can adapt. No, you don't. It's a pain in the dick is what it is, because parry timings create muscle memory, and you start, adapting to a certain animation that the enemy is doing, and that's when you're going to start parrying. And it just fucks with everything. I hate that. They did that for at least one of the Star Wars games, those ones that came from Respawn Entertainment, they've done that as well.
Oh, yeah?
And that is like possibly one of my biggest criticism for the game. Is like there's too many goddamn difficulty options. They're too granular, and you're fucking with parry timings.
Can I just throw something in here? Just to sort of mesh with what you're saying. The reason granular difficulty settings suck so much outside of the parry window, because I do agree with you there, that now isn't anymore a difficulty setting. It completely changes the game.
Yeah.
So you're not actually just sliding a difficulty up or down. You're changing the way the game interacts and how the game operates. But what's more important, and why games that have this granular sort of approach doesn't work, all games are optimized on a specific difficulty. All the other difficulties are merely adaptations. So, for example, if the game is optimized for normal, which is what most companies do, they optimize for normal. From there, they oftentimes just lazily add a bunch of health and damage. That makes it more difficult. And it's like, well, actually, it doesn't make it more difficult. It makes it more annoying. Because instead of killing the boss in say 20 hits, it's now going to take me 200 hits to kill the boss, which just makes the fight so much more annoying. That's why it's almost always better to play something like Elden Ring, where you have one difficulty. The boss's AI was designed around that one single difficulty. And then the game offers you a bunch of optional side content that you can do in order to sidestep some of the AI and make the fight a little bit easier for yourself. But the whole point is that this is the boss. This is what we balanced it around. And then we give you tools to get around it. granular difficulty sliding doesn't work that way, and that's why it's more annoying. But okay, you were going to say
in Veilguard, I thought it was also really bad. The difficulty that I ended up playing Veilguard in, and a lot of people were like, well, maybe you should get better. It's like I beat most of the bosses first try. It just wasn't fun because the difficulty was garbage. It was just like, oh, I have to throw my shield 200 times to kill this boss rather than throwing it, I don't know, 20. It's just like you said. It was just bloated HP and nothing else. Now, in the case of
Mass Effect was the same, by the way. If you've ever played Mass Effect on the hardest difficulty, all it does is that a headshot no longer kills the enemy. Yeah. You have to do like 7 or 8 headshots. And it's like, dude, that's not harder. It's just more annoying.
It's more tedious. But I don't think that the bloat of HP, I don't think I've actually felt it. But again, I'm only in the first 5 hours, so who knows? What I did feel was my own health pool was garbage. Because I played on lethal because I was curious to see just how hard it was. And there were like bosses where I just very instantly would get killed, like, I don't know, 15 times plus before I was able to take them down. But, you know, that type of stuff is somewhat fun to me, going against the hardest challenge and whatnot.
Yeah, getting a challenge is fun, yeah.
I do feel that lethal is maybe a little bit exaggerated just because it's 2 hits that you get. You get to be hit twice and then you die. But regardless of that, moving past that, the open world of the game feels phenomenal. It's very much same thing that you had with Ghost of Tsushima. It's always a joy to explore those worlds. They've made them like super beautiful. There's the wind effects. There's the beautiful flowers. You go to the hot springs, for instance. The character actually strips naked. You see like a back shot of the character fully nude.
Yeah, but who would ever want to see that ugly character naked, bro?
She's not that ugly, bro. What the fuck?
She's butt ugly, bro. Like, holy crap.
Nah, bro. I think you might be gay, actually.
Dude, what? Of all the Asian women that they could use in this game, right? Of all the Asian... Dude, they could have used Eve from Stellar Blade. They could have modeled her after Eve, and I would have said, man, I would love to see her naked.
So wait a minute.
This one has man jaw, and I want to see her naked? Nothing.
Wait a minute. So we go from the argument that Abby wouldn't find enough nutrition to be that muscular in Last of Us 2 to the argument that you want someone that looks like Eve from Stellar Blade in an accurate Japanese setting.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
100%. Those two things cannot coexist. Like, I'm sorry, but
dude, are you okay? So we're already throwing the accurate Japanese setting out of the window because this one is a samurai but a female, right? Which is only men could be samurai. So that's your first problem, right?
Is she
there.
Considered the samurai? I don't know if she's considered the samurai.
She has a sword and she
has a katana. Having a katana doesn't make you a samurai.
Okay, either a samurai or a ninja. Either way, it's not historically accurate because women were not allowed to fight in feudal Japan. So even if she wasn't called an official samurai, she wouldn't have been allowed to fight because women weren't allowed to fight in feudal Japan. We went through this with the Assassin's Creed fiasco of last year or earlier this year. So it's not necessarily the most historically accurate. But then also, people like beautiful characters. That's just how it is. Like, there's no getting around that. There's a reason why they don't choose ugly
ChatGPT seems to think that women could fight. I don't know.
No, could fight, but wasn't allowed to fight.
No, it says that
difference.
Women could and sometimes did fight in feudal Japan.
Sometimes did fight. You'd have to go look at the exact instances.
Their main role was to defend their home or community while the men were away at war.
Yeah.
They were not typically frontline soldiers. Also,
there we go.
Atsu is not a frontline soldier. She's a mercenary.
Yeah, still fighting. She would have been considered, especially in honor-driven feudal Japan, she would have been completely ostracized by everyone. No one would have wanted anything to do with her.
Which is what happens in the game.
Historically accurate.
It's what happens.
If we
in the
wanted
game.
to be historically accurate, they also chose an ugly female character. Another reason to ostracize the living crap out of her. So it's all good in the hood as far as I'm concerned.
Jesus
the
Christ.
point more that, and I should be honest, guys, I never wanted to play this game. I will not buy this game, and I will not play it. I'm perfectly happy to just let this one go.
Oh yeah, I should also say I received a review copy from PlayStation, if that matters. Although I guess that because of that, everything that I said, my criticisms of the difficulty, they're not valid because I received a review copy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so he's a paid shill, guys. He's not shilling too well at the moment. I think he forgot that he was supposed to
shill. I guess
the
check's not in the mail.
He'll start now. Sony, forget everything you said before this.
Forget everything I said before this. Yes, let's go on. Let's make it.
Cut that.
Let's go ahead and make it worse and say that I actually didn't enjoy the bit of story that I've experienced so far because it's a little bit too on the nose with the Kill Bill inspirations. So it is 100% like you can tell that they were inspired by Kill Bill because of the fact that everything at the beginning of the game is all about, I'm going to go kill the Yotei 6. I have to kill the Yotei 6. You start the game, you fight the snake, you kill the snake. I'm killing the Yotei 6. That's like the whole thing you're doing. I do feel like in the very beginning, there's an exaggerated cutscene that I thought was kind of weird, but I guess they're setting it to be more... They're setting the tone to where it's like, we're not going for realism, is what they're setting the tone at the beginning. Because let me tell you what happens at the very beginning of the game. You fight the snake, which is one of the Yotei 6. Obviously, you beat him because otherwise the game would end. So, but during beating
which would have been a W, considering
the game is not bad. The game is fun. I'm sure that a lot of people will absolutely love this game. I'm sure that for a lot of people, this will be their game of the year because the game is very good in terms of like animations, combat, all of that stuff feels phenomenal to play. Now, you beat the snake.
There's people who like grass bowling. Like, yes, of course, there's people that like stupid shit. Doesn't make the shit stupid.
No, the game is not. I don't agree that the game is stupid. But anyway, as I was saying, because listen, I'm about to complain about something, so let me cook.
Okay, I'll be quiet. Let it go.
Here's what happens. You're fighting the snake. Yeah. You do the combat sequence with the snake. They teach you about parrying, doing all that stuff. Basically, it eventually devolves into a situation where Atsu is on her back in the ground, and the snake is on top of her with a katana. And you're like, how does he not kill her? Because he's drunk. She waited until he was drunk to go and challenge him then to fight him. Not a very honorable thing because, like I said, she's not a samurai. But anyway, she went in there to kill him. She kills a bunch of his henchmen, whatever. And then it ends up
in also not historically accurate.
She's in the ground holding the katana that he is thrusting at her. And dude's like...
With her hands?
I mean, she's holding on the guard, the katana.
Oh, okay.
And he's like trying to thrust the katana into her. So here's the brilliant move she goes for. She lets go of the katana, gets stabbed, and then pulls out a knife and shanks the guy and kills him.
Oh, so Dune.
Then she gets up, gets on her horse, and rides away.
Of course, the stab, only a flesh wound.
I would estimate from the cutscene she got stabbed right about here, in the gut.
Oh, so
in the gut. So a gut stab, she just like walks it off.
Yeah. So they stole basically the ending of the fight of Dune 2.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen plenty of movies where somebody's like about to, get you with a stab and they're like, fine, fucking stab me. And then they pull them closer and fucking stab them back, right?
Yeah, but I've seen that in Dune 2, have you seen Dune 2?
No, I haven't seen
the second Dune 2. Okay, so the fight, one of the final fights, he realizes that he is incapable of beating this guy. But he then allows the guy to stab him, and he then grabs his own knife and the guy's knife and stabs the guy, right? And then kills him. So it's sort of like, wow, okay. But that's just sort of an aside, right?
But
you said something about the story.
Yeah, the thing was that it seems like it's setting the tone to where it's not going to be like super realistic, right? Because she gets stabbed in the gut, just like kind of like walks it off. But yeah, then I went on and I tried doing as much side content as I could because I wanted to power up to do the main content. But in this game, it seems to be the other way around. You want to do the main content because that is easier if you're in lethal difficulty. Doing the main content is easier than doing the side content. So basically, I made a lot of mistakes because I was trying to like do bounties and shit like that, and those guys were way harder than the main bosses. But the open world was great to explore. It's just the story feels, I don't know, it just feels like it's a little bit too on the nose because everywhere you go, every single interaction that you have is about the Yotei 6. What do you know about the Yotei 6? Tell me about Kitsune. Tell me about the whatever the name of the main villain was. Tell me about them. And it's like, it's very stereotypical, safe revenge plot kind of, because it's all about how this samurai guy killed your whole family because your father deserted. This is like super early in the game. It's not spoilers. This samurai guy killed your whole family because your father deserted his band of people while they were in a war or something like that. Naturally, he kills everybody except for you. He leaves you alive with a katana shanked, sticking you on a tree on your traps. And it's just like, damn, that feels like
twice now she's been stabbed.
She's very resilient, all right?
Yeah, but, hardy as shit.
But it's like the story didn't really grab me. The gameplay is a ton of fun though. I had a blast with like the duels and all of that stuff, but the story I would say is not the thing that grabbed me the most about the experience. But again, I'm only 5 hours in, so I don't know all of the twists and turns and all of that stuff. I remember really enjoying the story of Ghost of Tsushima, which is also kind of like a revenge plot. But I don't know, I feel like Jin Sakai might have been a little bit more fleshed out as a character than necessarily Atsu. But again, I would, in order to really formulate an opinion, I'm always like, I need to see the whole story because otherwise it's just kind of like random bullshit. And so whatever. I'm not going to talk too much about the story. But I believe that it was SkillUp who said he didn't like the story nearly as much on his review.
So SkillUp in his review says it's effectively a carbon copy gameplay-wise of Ghost of Tsushima. Basically the same game. Like, if you play that, you immediately go, I may as well have been playing Ghost of Tsushima, because the graphics are better, but the gameplay is the same. The story is super mediocre. Then you have another guy that is called Griffin...
Griffin Gaming.
Griffin Gaming. Also, same thing. Saying that gameplay, it's Ghost of Tsushima gameplay, but the story is really bad. Like, he actually really gets into it. The worst thing SkillUp could have said about it is that he walked away from the game feeling absolutely nothing towards the story. Nothing. Like, he actually doesn't even know why this game was made. That's how forgettable the game is. It has nothing that stands out about it that makes you think, wow, okay, that at least can be redeemed, right? That's at least a good idea. You can, for example, even point to something like Assassin's Creed Shadows, and you can say, look, you made a very bad decision with Yasuke. There were a lot of bad decisions with the story, but the dual protagonist thing could probably be something to lean into in the future. There might be something that you could play around with there as far as storytelling goes. Maybe that's a good angle to go for. Whereas this one seems to have no redeeming quality whatsoever, outside of it's just another Ghost of Tsushima, but worse, right? In what it matters for open world games, which is story, right? The whole point of an open world game is the story needs to keep you wanting to go to the next location. Here, it seems like it was mostly gameplay.
I think
and funnily enough, he said something similar to you, where he said the main character of the first one was far more fleshed out and interesting than the character in this one. And I think the reason for that, and you know what I'm about to say, writers today
insist sexist fuck.
No. it's actually, I would say that it's the writers that are sexist because they refuse to write women as women. Instead, they always try to write the male version of a woman. And by this, I don't mean trans. I mean the things that make women women are the exact things that most Hollywood and liberal leftists view as the weaknesses of women. And therefore, whenever they write a woman, they immediately think, oh, she needs to be a man. And if you, by the way, think, wow, but, Stephan, you're just full of crap here. Emily Blunt said the same thing. She refuses to do roles that has a girl boss because it's boring to play. It always plays the same, and it effectively just turns women into worse men. That's it. Because a woman isn't a man, therefore it's boring. But, the writers want to be feminist girl bosses, and so they keep writing non-female characters as female characters, and that's why the characters come off as bland, boring, and a bit nonsense, because they're not even written as women or as men. They're written as caricatures of men. Because most of these people also hate men. So they don't really
I don't know enough about the story to really formulate an opinion that strong, so I'm gonna.
I don't have to know anything about Ghost of Yotei. I've seen enough of the games coming out of the AAA slop industry, and I've played enough of them myself because I will say the exact same thing about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I would say the exact same thing about Star Wars Outlaws. I would say the exact same thing about Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I would say the exact same thing about most modern day movies. The female characters are not real characters. And just to give you guys a little bit of an insight here, right? At I think this was at the Game Developers Conference where this was happening, but Tristan J. Tarwater, pronouns they, them, spoke about decolonizing cozy games. And Tristan, by the way, is part of Sweet Baby Inc. And the whole idea is what's so cozy about doing chores when you're at the center of the universe? Tristan J. Tarwater will delve into cozy games and how they uphold values of colonialism in their mechanics and narrative. More than just being about vibes, cozy games project an idea of what is safe and rewarding for players and often promote values of capitalism by rewarding individualism and consumption. The people who make games like Ghost of Yotei, the people who make all of these nonsense, slop, AAA left-wing nonsense, are all people who believe this crap. So they believe that when they're creating a woman, it's to de-patriarch her. She has to be free of the patriarchy. She has to be free of colonialism and free of Nazism and all the rest of that crap that they invent in their own heads. And that's how you end up with characters that are so deathly boring that I can't sit through modern day TV shows. I can't sit through modern day movies because every single character is just so incredibly boring that I've literally canceled my Netflix and my Prime subscription because every bollocks thing that comes out of it is just more nonsense. Anyways, sorry.
No,
I just had to.
I don't agree that this game is AAA slop, not by any standard. And I don't know enough about the story to judge Atsu as a character at this point. I will say that the beginning didn't really grab me as much as I wish it did. But it's also just the beginning, so who knows? Maybe your character gets better, maybe it gets worse. I don't know, basically. But I would definitely
I personally think it's going to be the same thing.
It just from an artistic standpoint, it's a phenomenal game, and the gameplay of it is also fucking fantastic. It's not slop. Maybe the story you might not like. I don't know, but I'm also not.
May I remind you that you said the exact same thing about Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and now after finishing it, you will agree that it was just AAA slop.
Yeah, it was pretty
And
fun. I mean, yeah, the Dragon Age, the Veil Guard was pretty bad. But it's like, but hey, I played through that game. I get to say that it is slop. This one I haven't played through it yet, so
play through it, and I get to say that this is slop. You see how that works? I mean, saved nearly 100 hours, and I can still say that.
I mean, if you think about it like that, then people from IGN and Kotaku can do the same thing.
Yeah, but they don't, because
imagine them
they
just
also don't play the game. And
but imagine
all of them gave it a 10 out of 10.
Imagine them just like basically not even playing Pal World and saying, yep, Pal World's just like slop.
Well, they already do that. Here you have it. I'm looking at the screenshot now. Generational masterpiece is what they call Ghost of Yotei. Cog Connected, 10 out of 10. Digital Trains, 10 out of 10. Loot Level Chill, 10 out of 10. Consolfin, 10 out of 10. PSU, 10 out of 10. Player 2, 10 out of 10. Sector SK, 10 out of 10. Toysto, 10 out of 10. GameSpew, 10 out of 10. VGC, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Game Rant, 10 out of 10. Games Radar, 9 out of 10. GameSpot, 9 out of 10. The 6 Axis, 9 out of 10. Push Square, 9 out of 10. Gaming Bolt, 9 out of 10. Gaming Block, 9 out of 10. Gaming Nexus, 9 out of 10. IGN, 8 out of 10. Dexerto, 8 out of 10. So they already don't give a crap about actually giving good reviews. The difference here is that I actually look at people's reviews that I trust, that I know whenever they tell me a game is good, it's probably good, right? And I go, okay, if they don't like it, right, and I can listen to their criticisms of it, and I can compare it to the games that I do actually play, because I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not a huge Japan freak. I don't care that much about Japan. So when games come out that is sort of set in Japan, I'm not immediately drawn to that, right? I prefer futuristic stuff or medieval European stuff. So that's sort of more the games that I play. And so when it comes to games like this, I will listen to people that I trust. And if they tell me, oh man, this game is phenomenal, I'll go play it. Then I will actually make the effort to go play it. Ghost of Tsushima, for example, is on my list. I really want to play that game.
It is
I just
phenomenal.
need to find the time for it.
Yeah.
But Ghost of Yotei isn't on my list because the same people that told me Ghost of Tsushima is brilliant told me that Ghost of Yotei isn't. And then when I listen to their criticisms, I can compare it to the games that I did play, that I have personal experience on, and I can go, ooh, I know why this is. Right? So that's sort of where I come from. And then, of course, we kind of know, or at least we have some evidence that the game probably isn't doing all that well, because the developer that was fired from Sucker Punch because she made fun of Charlie Kirk being assassinated had the following to say on Blue Sky. As it turns out, my joke didn't make the game do any worse. My firing didn't make the game do any better. So really, the only thing that the harassment campaign succeeded in was sucking all the joy out of my life. So I guess that's a W. I do actually count that as a W.
Yeah, I was about to say,
you joked about a man's assassination.
People will take that as a W. Like if you're gonna word it like that, people are like, "Fuck yeah, we got her." So yeah, maybe not the smartest thing.
I will actually say I have in the last year changed my mind on cancel culture. I now believe that cancel culture is actually a super good thing. Because we've been doing it. Yeah.
So wait, when it was happening to your side, it was a bad thing. Now that it's happening to the other side, it's a good thing?
No. I was defending the other side when they got canceled as well. But then I was watching this podcast of a historian, and he said something that started to stick with me. And the more I thought about it, the more it started to make sense. Throughout history, the way we sort of kept society in line was social ostracization. If someone stepped out of line, the community would ostracize that person. If you were in your village, right, and you, for example, stole something, what would the village do? They would chase
cut
you
off
away.
Your hands. No, wait,
well,
that's
some would,
depending on the culture.
Yeah, some would, but others would just chase you away. So becoming a social pariah is actually, it's how we've always dealt with this kind of stuff. The problem is, right, that as the conservatives, we looked at the game wrong. You see, the left determined the rules of the game. We thought that, okay, we need to engage in free speech, and free speech is an absolute right, which it isn't. Free speech is only a right if you can enforce it, if you can defend it. We thought that free speech is such an inalienable right that everyone should be allowed to say whatever they want without consequence. The left said, no, if you say anything we don't like, we will create consequences for you. As the right, we kept saying, well, we're not going to fight on your level. No, these are the rules of the game as laid down by the left. The left just a few weeks ago changed the rules of the game again, where they said, actually, we will kill you if we don't like the things that you're saying. That's a new rule, right? We've now got new rules that's being played by. All I'm saying is I think the right should be playing by the same rules. And before you say that's a very minority opinion that's held, no, it's not. About 70% of Democrats in America, when asked whether or not violence is acceptable in the political sphere, political violence is acceptable within the political sphere, answered yes in the affirmative. They do believe that violence is sometimes useful in order to get your political message across. That's not a minority opinion.
I was going to say that's a fallacy of generalization, and what was the sample size on this 70% thing?
It was a YouGov poll. So YouGov is not a right wing, and they're a polling company.
Yeah,
they do polls all the time, right?
Again,
so it's a pretty big poll.
Size?
Ipsos, no, I can't. I don't have that off the top of my head. Ipsos did a poll as
That's
well
important.
on it, and they found. Ipsos did a poll on this as well, and they found the exact same results. So
imagine these are sample
polls.
Sizes of like 1,000 people.
Well, 1,000 people.
Does that mean on a population of 300 million?
No, but it doesn't matter what the population is. If you have 1,000 randomly selected people, you're probably going to get a viewpoint that is congruent with what the majority of people would believe if you were to ask all people. If it was a sample size of like 100 people, yes, now we're getting to a place where it's statistically way too little. But there's two polls, the Ipsos poll, the YouGov poll, both of them found those exact same results, right? So two polls now find that Democrats absolutely agree that political violence is a good thing. So the rules of the game has changed now. We'll see if conservatives actually rise to that occasion and say, okay, since the rules have changed now, it is time for violence to... I don't want that to happen. Just FYI. I think conservatives should resist that urge, and we should try and get people back to the table to try and debate this stuff. But I think cancel culture should be picked up. If you make jokes, your life should be canceled. You should absolutely be destroyed on every level. Lose your job, lose everything you've got. Because, hey, you made the choice to make a joke about a man that was just assassinated. You made the choice to joke about his wife and his children left without a father. That was your choice. We then have the right to say, well, if you're working for a company, we will not support that company unless that company fires you and destroys your life. So absolute W, in my opinion. But of course, she goes on to play the absolute victim, even though she is a vile, disgusting human being, because she says, in my opinion, every company that has caved to their demands has contributed to the harassment and climate of fear the rest of us are enduring. Climate of fear? What the hell are you talking about? You're the one shooting people and then joking about it. The climate of fear is enforced by you. And the game companies that have done so, in particular, have painted a target on the back of every single person in this industry. Good. The target should be even bigger. And that's what I will say about it.
That is incredibly radical. So, I don't know, bro.
I agree.
Listen,
I agree.
I want everybody to just be way more peaceful, but, I'm not gonna.
That's not gonna happen.
This is not something that I do enough research to give you proper rebuttals to. So I don't have anything to say.
No, I don't expect you to, and I want to stress this super clearly. I'm not speaking for myself and Rurikhan. I'm speaking for myself. And yes, I am angry, guys. Yeah. I'll be the first to admit this. I am very angry. If you ask me right now what I would like to do, the answer is I would like to start a civil war against the left. That's what I would like to do. Right? I'm not gonna.
You don't even. And I'm gonna argue that
we shouldn't do that. No, well, we have the left here as well, and they're just as bad, if not worse. So I have my own problems with South African lefties. because they're just as vile, if not more vile than that. In some cases, America's left learns from our left how to be vile, disgusting human beings. So I am angry, and I'm very, very angry at the moment. I won't do it, and I don't think people should do it. Right? I will still calm myself and move away from that and say, actually, no, we should probably find a peaceful way forward. But I can't deny the fact that I don't feel any empathy or remorse for this person losing their job. And I don't feel any empathy or remorse for any developer that celebrates the assassination of a father and gets fired. You don't have my sympathy. You just don't. This isn't the same as people getting laid off, and I should feel sorry for them. I have admitted in the past that I was wrong at celebrating their dismissals, because a lot of those developers are just trying to do their jobs. In this case, this idiot wasn't just trying to do their job. This idiot was actively celebrating the assassination of a father and now wants to play the victim. Get bent. I don't care. You don't matter.
I mean, I'm not going to celebrate her losing her job or whatever, but at the same time, I do think it's fucking unhinged to celebrate somebody getting murdered. So,
Yeah.
it
No,
is
that's
what it
fine.
is.
That's perfectly fine. And I think I'm extra angry today. So I do apologize.
Yeah, I can tell.
There's a bunch of
Like,
stuff. There's a
Jesus
bunch of
Christ.
stuff that's happening in South Africa that just has me on edge at the moment. So I'm a bit more animated than what I normally would be. And I wouldn't say that this is the normal views that I hold, because it isn't, right? As I said, I want to, but I won't, right? Because I understand that would lead to nothing good, right? And at the end of the day, it's all in God's hands. Things are gonna play out the way that they are. But I do think that you should also not be able to celebrate the death of someone and not face any consequences of it. That I do think we can determine, or we can discuss and debate what the consequences must be, right?
Yeah, but there are going to it's isn't it the same thing that people said, like, free speech is not freedom of consequence or whatever it was? So yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
you get to celebrate Charlie Kirk's death if that's something that you really want to do because you're unhinged, but that doesn't mean you get to do it without any consequence. So
Oh yeah. Speaking of celebrating, we should probably. By the way, did you have anything else that you wanted to say about Ghost of Yotei, or was that
no? Like, I've
was
only
that the
like I
extent
said,
of it?
I've only played 5 hours of the game. Like, I really like everything about it in terms of like gameplay, artistry. I think that those guys do a phenomenal job, animations, all of that. It's running silky smooth on base PS5. If you put it on performance mode, I think it's hitting 60 FPS pretty consistently. I was even wondering what engine
That's like
they're
more
using.
than the human eye can see.
Yeah, right. I was even wondering what engine they're using. Apparently, they're using some proprietary engine that Sucker Punch uses. I thought it would be the Decima, but it doesn't seem like it's Decima engine. So I don't know what they're using, but whatever engine they're using, people need to like study that one because it's a million times better than fucking Unreal Engine 5. That's for damn fucking sure. So the game is actually running pretty smooth, but like I said, in terms of like story and whatnot, hasn't really grabbed me. And I think I'm also in a gaming mood that I don't feel like playing a giga open world game right now. So I did my stream, and then I was like, this is really fun, but I don't know if I feel like playing a big open world game. I'm more into plastic crack right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been
cutting
assembling.
yourself.
No, listen. This you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. Look at this Space Marine right here. Like he's shaping up pretty nice.
Yeah, that is cool. Okay, so let's talk. We're gonna quickly cover the next topics because we're sort of running out of time here. There has been a confirmed cancellation of a post-Civil War Assassin's Creed. Last year, Ubisoft wanted to make a post-Civil War Assassin's Creed game. They decided to cancel that, and the reason they decided to cancel it is because of the reaction. I think your wife is behind you.
Yeah, give me a minute.
All right, so the game itself, I think, is... they were afraid that it was going to get cancelled by the people because of Yasuke and the reaction to Yasuke. That's effectively the whole story. That's at least as far as I know.
So a post-Civil War game. What was the main character you're going to be playing as? Okay, the Reconstruction period that followed in the 1860s and 1870s. In this Reconstruction era Assassin's Creed, gamers would play as a black man who had been formerly enslaved in the South and moved west to start a new life.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew it was either a black person or a Native American. I was just sort of, I wasn't sure exactly which one Ubisoft had gone for, because I just saw the tweets, right, from people sort of highlighting Assassin's Creed game failed or cancelled because Ubisoft really didn't care about it. So I wasn't even sure if there were articles.
The source said it was going to be too political in a country too unstable to make it short. It's like, I just think that Ubisoft sucks at telling stories nowadays, not to mention that their monetization structure is absolutely abysmal every single time. So I just don't even trust them to tell that story properly because Ubisoft is garbage. So whatever.
You see, the truth is it could be a great story. You could absolutely use that as a very nice sort of breakout into a good game. The issue is that you already know what the angle for the developers are going to be, right? You already know. And it should just be mentioned. We discussed this with Assassin's Creed Shadows when we had this problem with Assassin's Creed Shadows. If you're going to make a black protagonist, you have to be so bloody careful with what you're doing, because you're already not putting yourself up for success. And that isn't because people are racist. It's because most people that's going to be playing that game in the West and in Asia are white or Asian. So they're not
Assassin's Creed, GTA San Andreas.
Yeah,
super successful.
It can work.
Game.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. This is why I said you have to be super careful with what you're doing, right? Because you're already starting at, say, if the ladder has 10 steps, right? And you start with a protagonist that is, say,
just
white
because the
or
race
Asian.
of the protagonist?
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Right? You maybe start, say, at step, let's say 4, right? If it's like or step 6, if it's like a white or an Asian protagonist. If you're starting with a black protagonist, you're already starting at a lower step. And it's not racism. It's how do I identify with what? No, because you're not taking into account the whole argument. People identify with things that they know, right? So an Asian person is far more likely to identify with an Asian character than what they are with a white character. The way you circumvent this is by the writing of the character. So, for example, why can I watch American Gangster and absolutely love Denzel Washington's portrayal in that movie and identify with Denzel Washington? 2 things. Brilliant actor, brilliant writing. Right? Which circumvents the side of my brain that immediately wants to identify with a character because it's snap judgment, right? This isn't a deeply thought out, well, I'm not going to watch black characters. This is snap. It's built into you. It's biological. We like things that look the same as us. So if your
dwarves.
Audience,
what does that say about
for example, well, here's the thing, because you're a dwarf.
I'm not.
This is it's the same thing that happens if we were speaking, and this is why I'm telling you it's not a racist thing. If we were having this exact same conversation in Africa, in a game that is marketed towards Africans, and the protagonist was a guy with blonde hair and blue eyes, I would tell you the exact same thing, just in the reverse. You're marketing a game to a population of about 3 billion people with a protagonist that doesn't look like them. So you're going to have to be super good at writing that character to allow them to get past that initial gut reaction and actually find something that connects with that character. And it's not hard to do. You just have to do it. The problem that Ubisoft has is they're lazy about it.
The problem
see,
is
they
that
don't
they're lazy
try
about
to connect
everything.
you.
They fucking suck.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, but that's exactly the thing. It's lazy political opinions or lazy political slop content, where instead of actually saying, okay, we're gonna have this black character be the protagonist. So we have to make sure that this character has values and sort of story arcs that immediately circumvent the gut reaction and allow people to just immediately connect with him. It just takes a little bit more effort, but you have to make sure that the writing is such that people can immediately get there. They don't want to do that. Instead, the character starts off from the beginning either being insufferable or, there's an immediate sort of preaching that goes on to the audience. So they're trying to shame the audience almost into accepting this protagonist rather than get the audience to care about the protagonist.
I mean, that was the Tosh
and
strategy
sort of
back in Dragon Age, the Veilguard, but that's EA, not Ubisoft. But yeah.
Yeah, well, they all study at the same places, do the same stuff. And it ultimately it doesn't work, right? It just creates terrible stories. The next story that we have here is actually a bit of a good guy story. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, has sold 5 million copies, which I think for them is absolutely amazing. So well played.
You love to
them.
fucking see it, baby.
Oh, yeah. You absolutely do love to see it. And they have decided, as part of their gratitude, to actually release a free update with new location, as well as a bunch of new bosses and content for everyone.
I need to go and play that game at some point. I think one of the things that one of the reasons I have been able to play that game is because I don't think I should stream it.
No,
I think I should just play it for myself. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Because it's very frustrating to try and stream that with especially with the current YouTube algorithm. That's just like, oh, we actually don't want to send your stream to people because you're not streaming Monster Hunter. Like it's just YouTube's put me in that box, and I'm just like, I'm the Monster Hunter guy forever. I can't do anything else. Otherwise, YouTube will send nothing to people. Like, if you've seen the amount of comments I get from people telling me that, like, oh, I really like this video. Too bad YouTube didn't send it to me. It's like, oh, that sounds about right.
Andrew was weird. But I think this is a good guy move.
Absolutely. They're phenomenal, those guys.
Yeah. This is why AA is the future, in my opinion.
100%.
Because this is what AA studios are now doing. You see it with Larian Studios, now you're seeing it with Soundful Games. And there's a reason for it. They're not actually being good guys, but they are being good guys. They're obviously working on their next game. The problem is that in early development, you generally have maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 people involved in the early scope of the game. That means you still have like a 30-plus developer team that's just waiting for something to do. So you may as well put them to work making extra content for your game that's already out whilst you're getting ready for the next game. That's why Baldur's Gate received updates and content for almost 2 years after its launch, because
that's another one
they were still working.
I want to replay Baldur's Gate.
So fun.
The
I just started replaying it again. Yeah, I just started replaying it again, and it is so fun, dude. Like, holy crap, it's just such a good game. And then finally, we're going to end it on this one. I'm going to remove the Discord discussion. Well, I'll just quickly mention there's been a Discord leak, and now apparently the hackers are blaming Discord or blackmailing Discord.
Leak it! Leak everything! It was about the ID thing. Yeah, it's a good idea to get people to put more of their information online. Good job, government. Thank you so much for looking after the children, you fucking sick fucks. Good job.
Yeah. 2.1 million people, by the way. So if you are one of those people, you might want to be careful because they were able to get names, details, as well as ID documents and driver's licenses.
Oh, yeah. If they got like your social security number, it's going to be a whole lot of fun times ahead.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to be good. And then the final story is a leak, so probably not much to say here because we've had this conversation before. But according to sources inside Microsoft, Microsoft is actually considering permanently stepping away from consoles. They don't really know.
They lost so bad that it's time for them just like, yeah, you know what? I think we really just like fucking lost. It's time to pull a Sega and become a third-party publisher. There you go.
Well, yeah. I don't think it necessarily has something to do with losing. I think it has to do with the fact that Microsoft understands, and we've had this conversation before, so I won't bore people too much with it. But Microsoft understands with technology becoming better and better and better, with the advent of the pocket PC or the portable PC or the handheld market, consoles will die. There's going to be less and less of a reason for a console to exist, specifically given that consoles are so limited in their use cases.
If we really think about it,
yeah,
the audience for consoles right now, for your traditional home consoles, a majority of the audience, I would argue, is likely above 30 in age.
Yeah, I
think anyone below 30 is likely playing games on phones. Like, my kid cares more about... Like, my kid has access to a PC with a 6900 XT. He never wants to play it unless, like, oh, Dad, if you play with me, and it's like he never wants to go play it by himself. It's only like if we're doing some co-op shenanigans. So it's like kids don't care. They want, the faster dopamine of a mobile game, as much as I try to teach him. No. He only plays certain ones, though. He doesn't get to play Roblox. Fuck that shit. And giving him
I think Microsoft has realized the future does not lie in consoles. Consoles are dying. And so the question is, why would you continuously release this hardware, specifically because this hardware is almost sold for most of its life cycle at a loss before they actually start making money on it? Why would you want to sell that when you already have the console piece or the portable PC in the form of handheld? You have mobile, and Xbox Cloud takes care of the mobile side of being able to play anything on your mobile anyways.
Dude, did you see that part of their changes? They're like charging you for resolution on Xbox Cloud.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, dude. They're gonna charge you for everything.
This is official. This is not like rumors. This is official. So like
but it doesn't surprise me.
If you want like 1440p gaming, you need the ultimate tier of Game Pass. Otherwise, you get that 1080p, brother. That's what you get. Yeah. Imagine monetizing resolution. I just remember doing the tweet that just went like cloud gaming, more like clown gaming. Because you're a fucking clown. That's what you are.
Yeah. No, but that's the stories, guys. That's the news. You can let us know in the comment section down below what you thought of all of our stories. There were a lot of ranting in today's episode. I do apologize. But hey, sometimes you just gotta let it go. And you just gotta get it out. So I do appreciate it. Those of you who made it through the whole episode, like, you are the real champs. Like, holy crap. I probably chased away like at least half the audience within the first 10 minutes of the episode.
So much politics this episode. God damn.
Should actually just rebrand to political channel.
No!
And watch Rurikhan squirm every episode, not sure what the hell to do.
More like watch Rurikhan not even show up.
No, I mean, we do politics when it happens, right? We don't go out to look for political content. We also don't go out to look for content that isn't political. We look for whatever there is, and if I have political stuff to say about it, I will. And Rurikhan will sit there and just quietly paint his shit because he doesn't really want to say anything.
I'm sculpting, okay, my Space Marine. This is what people need to post at the end of the video. They need to post Breacher Veteran, because that's the one that I'm assembling right now. That's the comment.
All right.
Breacher Veteran. There you go.
Breacher Veteran. So to the 5 people that are still watching, please comment Breacher Veteran in the comment section down below, and let everyone be very, very confused as to what the hell just happened here. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a massive shout out and thank you to Rurikhan for for actually being here and supporting me and doing this podcast every single week. Because it is currently him basically supporting me doing this podcast, because I don't do gaming content anymore. I don't have time. I'm just so busy with politics that I don't have time to make other videos. I read the news and I keep up on what gaming is, because I'm still a gamer. I still like gaming. I just don't have time to make videos. So Rurikhan basically forces me once a week to sit down and talk to him. Yeah, and still keep sort of attached to my roots in that sense. So Rurikhan, thank you for showing up every single week and for being here. To all of you for showing up every single week and supporting us, for just commenting, subscribing, and spending time with us. You are absolutely treasured and valued. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and we will see all of you in the next one. Peace.